Dear friends, we cordially invite all of you for this exciting and amazing third lecture, Hindu Christian Dialogue for Fellowship, a series of online lectures and discussions. Today is an exciting topic, Saint Chavara, a global transformational leader, by a dynamic leader who made a great impact on thousands of people by name Reverend Dr. Thomas Chatham Parambil, CMI. We also have an excellent management scholar by name Professor KCR Raja. He'll be moderating this session. Let me introduce about Professor KCR Raja. Professor KCR Raja has been a management educator and a creative scholar, coach, and counselor. After having worked in multinational company for 20 years, Professor Raja spent over 35 years in management, education, and education management. He was the founder director of the Bombay University's Garware Institute of Career Education and Development and has pioneered the development of vocational higher education in India. At the invitation of the Association of Community Colleges, Professor Raja had visited community colleges in the United States and made a profound remark on various presentations on vocational higher education in India at the annual conference of the association in Washington in the United States. Professor Raja, also founder director of Gedeck Rofel Institute of Management, WAPI, in 1999. Professor Raja helped to establish the Jasani Center for Social Entrepreneurship at Narsi Monji Institute of Management, Bombay. Professor Raja has lectured at several institutions in India and abroad and conducted training programs for reputed companies in areas like leadership, social entrepreneurship, business strategy, business ethics, and negotiation skills. Professor Raja has designed several management simulation exercises, both general purpose and company specific, and his course material, particularly management games, have helped successive batch of management practitioners fine-tune their decision-making skills. During the last 20 years, Professor Raja has been a mentor to several international organizations and also individuals, cutting across hierarchical levels. Professor Raja is currently an independent and non-executive director of Atasri Foundation, a non-profit organization based in Pune. Professor Raja sir, we are extremely delighted and fortunate to have you with us. Let us all welcome Professor Raja to moderate this amazing session. Over to you, Professor KCR Raja.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reverend Sukumar, for those words of welcome. Let me thank Father Dr. Matthew for giving me this opportunity to welcome all of you to this third lecture in the series Hindu-Christian Dialogue for Fellowship, which is a great initiative taken by ECC and which is, I think, so much relevant to these days when we look for unity and interfaith harmony. I also am grateful to you for having this opportunity to welcome all of you, a very distinguished audience, and particularly our speaker of today, a very distinguished educationist and social and religious leader, Father Dr. Thomas Chatham Parambil. He has been an institution builder and in the field of education management, led and transformed Christ College into what it is today, into a center of excellence that seeks the highest standards of excellence in educational endeavor. And he has led it and brought it up as an example for others to follow. He is the Prior General of the Mary Immaculate
Carmelites of Mary Immaculate. Sir.
Carmelites of Mary Immaculate, Finder. And Father Dr. Thomas is going to speak to us today on Saint Kuryakos Chavara, a global transformation leader of what Saint Chavara did years ago. And he was far ahead of his time in the field of social reform, in the field of religious practice, and so on. Let me, before I request Dr. Thomas Chatham to speak to us, let me just add that those who would like to ask questions at the end may use the chat facility to write out the questions. It'll be easier for us and it'll consume less time if the questions are written out and can be taken up by Father Dr. Thomas at the end of his talk. With that, I'd like to hand you over to Reverend Suguma to formally introduce Father Dr. Thomas. Reverend Suguma.
Thank you very much, Professor KCR Rajesh. Let me introduce the presenter of this online session. We have Reverend Dr. Thomas Chatham Parambil from Carmelites of Mary Immaculate. Currently, is the Prior General of the Carmelites of Mary Immaculate Congregation. He acquired his master's in chemistry degree from SH College, Kochi, and he went to New York for his further studies and studied MS in education from Iona College, New York. Later, his love and passion and enthusiasm for education drew him to pursue PhD doctorate in education from Bangalore University. Prior to his current appointment as Prior General of the Carmelites of Mary Immaculate Congregation, he has also served Christ deemed to be University Bangalore as the Vice Chancellor from 2008 to 2019. In addition, he has over 33 years of experience working at all levels in academic sector. He has been a lecturer, finance officer, vice principal, and vice chancellor. In fact, Father was ordained on May 11th, 1983, and he has worked extensively in the field of education, bringing various positive changes in educational system. He is selfless, pleasant, and extremely helpful. He is the man of integrity and honesty. He is a great visionary indeed. He is courageous, bold, and dynamic in his responsibilities. Father Thomas Chatham Parambil has a creative and brilliant mind. He is a good listener. He has a great passion to help others. He is the most dedicated and most hardworking leader. I cordially invite Reverend Father Dr. Thomas Chatham Parambil to deliver an online lecture on Saint Chavara, a global transformational leader. We are eager to listen your wisdom and knowledge, Father. We're absolutely delighted to have you with us. Let us all welcome Father Thomas Chatham Parambil. Over to you, Father.
Thank you, Sukumar, in inviting me. And thank you for all of us, all of you, for your great presence. So Professor KCR Raja with his expertise, thank you for being the moderator. Of course, my friend and probably we were together at Bangalore for many years. Father Matthew Chandrangunna LCM, my director of Ecumenical Center, is gracious to invite me. And thank you all you guests from various organizations. I think the secretary of Saint CBCI is Father Joby, and Miss Caroline is present there, yes, and all other distinguished people who are present from ECC. And when I was in Bangalore, ECC, I used to visit ECC for some kind of lecture some time ago. And whether we know or not, age is just coming. So I joined in Christ College then in 1986. And when I retired in 2019, then I remember 32, 33 years, one institution, unfortunately, 33 years added to my age. So the problem is I became an aged man, old man, being in Bangalore. And I was sad. And even today also I'm sad because I am 67 today. But I am happy many young people I'm finding in this screen also going to be having the same route because all will be become of age. The question is how you get age, how you get old, how you get transformed. I'm a graduate and a postgraduate in chemistry, and finally I ended up in administration. And chemistry is a subject with a lot of experimentation, and we used to spend 7 to 8 hours a day in the lab. And finally, when I moved to administration, I understood that the chemistry classes, what I did, and the patients and the analysis was helping me, the administration, because it is extremely important to connect and test and going ahead. When Father Matthew was telling me I should know to speak something about Saint Kyriakos Elias Chavara, who is the founder of the Carmelites of Mary Immaculate, and he proposed the title, A Global Transformational Leader. And I was wondering where he has gone. He lived between 1805 to 1871. 1805 to 1871, 66 years he lived. And what was in that time, there was no proper schooling system here and there in India and especially in Kerala. And you know that the university system, where University of in Chennai or Mumbai and Calcutta started in 1850s. And so it was a very slow country those days. Now I used to tell to many people because of the technology where we were slow one point of time. Today our speed is equal or better than many people. But whatever be the question, what I have to say about our founder, you have to see he born in a small place called Kainagari near Alapi. If you go today, even now it is a small place full of water, full of flooding, and he was blessed, or that place was blessed to be born by this great person. Probably, I think in 19th century and 18th century end, people used to go to these kind of places because one thing, paddy field was more and coconut was easy to available, and more than that, it was all exclusive places because other people cannot come that easily. So they were all having some fear of some kind of threat. Whatever be the case, Saint Kyriakos Elias Chavara, when you are giving this a global transformation leader, what is a transformation possible? He has not gone to any place in abroad. He was not knowing English because English was forbidden for Catholics those days, because English was a language of the Protestants, because of the English were Anglicans. So a lot of historical thing. And when he was doing like that, so what the education system, what was amazing me was he was following a Gurukula system. He was under a guru, a priest called Father Thomas Palakal. He was under him from the age of 11 or 12 for around 24, 25 till he became 24, 25 and he got ordained as a priest. So it was a Gurukula system. He was learning everything from his guru, Father Thomas Palakal. And slowly he was connected with other gurus like Thomas Porukura. So both the names of his gurus, Thomas, and one is from family of Palakal, the other from Purukara. Both, and they were all learned people, and not officially learned in a university, but they know the Bible and the languages and mobility. I don't know how they traveled, because in those days Kerala had only transportation, maybe I feel only bullock carts and boats, not the transport, but the country boats. They had to row and go to that. So this was the only system going around, and they found it was important, all those things. So young person like Kuriakose, Father Kuriakose, got ordained in 1829, and his guru, Thomas Palakal, was a very, very holy person in technically, and Thomas Purukara both had a dream to start a religious order. You may be wondering, what is this religious order? Religious order, for the understanding of those who are not familiar with it, even today you have this religious order. We are a congregation called Carmelites of Mary Immaculate, CMI. Or many of you may be knowing definitely Jesuits is another religious order. So the religious order, precisely what is important is they have community life. Second thing is there is no personal earnings. We don't have a personal earning. We don't pay tax because we don't have money. We do have, but it goes to the community. So big, and we all should take the vows of chastity, poverty, and obedience with the community life. So that was a concept happening. And in Kerala or in India, for the religious order, for the Keralites or the Indians was not that much common, or nobody was from India tried for that. Much before that, you know that Jesuits were here from 1540s in Goa and other places, but for the Indians to create itself, that is why it was not that much easy. So I was just telling the background. So Saint Kuriakose alias Chavaram started the congregation with the support of his gurus. Both the gurus are named Thomas Palakal and Thomas Purukara, and he got that spirit. And in a very younger age of Saint Kuriakose alias Chavara, both his teachers passed away. One in 1840, the other one in 1846. So if you look into the history of the Carmelites of Mary Immaculate, many of the dynamism and thinking came to Saint Kuriakose alias Chavara from his gurus and from the people. One thing we have to remember, Saint Kuriakose was a person connected to the society very much. Connected to the society means his friends were Nayars. Those who are from Kerala will be knowing who is a Nayar. And if you look into the history, he is used to go and spend more time with Hindus. And he had friends to tell them with Muslims. So what I meant is, in the philosophy of Saint Kuriakose alias Chavara, even if he is a Christian, a Catholic, a priest, even he wanted to have a community life for transforming the society, but he was very clear about connected with everybody, irrespective of caste or creed. Or in India or in Kerala, you have different kinds of systems. But he was above all those things. He could consider that everybody as a sons and daughters of God. If you look into the history, I will come to that, but I can just refer. He was a good educationist. He started a school in 1846. And who were the students? Who was the headmaster? Headmaster was a Hindu. And looking into the name, I feel that he has a Tamil root. I think he's a Brahmin. And definitely the students were from many religions. I think only few Christians. So the thinking of a humanity sharing the divineness was his broad-mindedness, and that was the broad-mindedness he started to the pioneers of the congregation, where we started the congregation in 1831. So in 1831, May 11th, when we started the congregation, he started this as a spiritual movement. It's a spiritual leadership. So you have to remember, a spiritual leadership is not a leadership you are only praying. Saint Chavra's idea, spirituality is a way of life. You will be truthful to your call. You will be praying to your Lord. At the same time, you will be working. So you saw, in the spiritual leadership, he called God Appa. Many of you will be knowing in many languages, Appa is called Father. So Appa is my Father. So for him, Appa is definitely the divine presence, God. If God is our Father, then all others are brothers and sisters. So he had that global vision, that global perspective. So his selfless love towards human being, everybody, irrespective of caste and creed, made him a God's person. So we are all Catholics. Our congregation is called Carmelites of Mary Immaculate. But at the same time, we have to remember that we are open. Catholic meaning itself is it is a kind of inspiration to everybody. So that is a way we have to work. And when we look into the Indian philosophy, we connect to a certain extent, I'm not saying fully, Jnana Marga, Bhakti Marga, and Karma Marga. Wisdom, devotion, and active life. So where all the three can be clapped together and having a blend, that was the spirituality of Saint Chavra. And being a young man, he did that and he worked on and developed on it. And I feel today, and we call those who are in congregations as they are for charity, doing charity. When we are doing social work, we are doing charity. I'm not competing or telling which word is more correct. Some people say charity organization, some others say, but more technically, I think developmental organization, developmental model was Saint Chavra's model. Charity is when the surplus of what you have, you give. So you find a diagram where you are trying to protect a small tree, and that tree cannot grow more than required because it is protected. Here, development, you'd identify a person as they are, irrespective of caste and creed, irrespective of gender. So be open to connect and work. So there is a kind of a system where it is not a spoon feeding system. It is making the person to grow. That is why sometimes we say, rather than giving a fish, make them fishers. Rather than making them to say instruct too much thing, give them ideas, at the same time give them freedom to think. So let us have this kind of developmental thinking. So Saint Chavra was developing his colleagues, his students and others, and asking the congregation to develop the system in a better way. Yes. So when you go through, just go through this, there is a beggar asking money. Some of you might have seen this. And we also find that a lady is coming. What she is doing is very important. Just Focus on it. She is coming back. She changed the board. I am blind, please help. She changed and she made some other things. People are paying more and more. Money was just flowing. So he was amazed to see what happened. And that lady who changed the board came back again.
I wrote the same, but in different words.
So what she wrote in that was important. It was a positive statement. It is beautiful. It is a beautiful day and I cannot see it. It is a positive approach. So the same thing, this is, you are familiar with this. So how we are presenting, how we are understanding our work. So Saint Chavara was a person empowering the people in that society and making them strong in the limitations of that. You know that I already told the limitations. Limitations were they didn't have transportation properly. They didn't have, they didn't know the languages English, or what they know is, but if you look into the history of him, we find he encouraged many languages. Tamil, he could speak Tamil because the language, mother of Malayalam was just growing. Then other than that, he was asking people to learn Latin and Syriac. And some of other European languages also he was aware. So the question now, the languages of other people, he was understanding and he could speak and he could go through that. So this kind of system made him a person for others. So what was important for him is, so spiritually blind. So what he is saying is, if we are not understanding others, if we cannot become the light of the world, through education, we should be having the real light. So here, from the beginning, he found right place for him education, going to different places. The state of Kerala was a limited place that time, and he was trying to contact with the European fathers who were there and trying to learn Portuguese, trying to learn other languages. So culturally accepting them, and even the Syriac tradition and Oriental tradition he was talking. So he was not rejecting anything. He was accepting and he was open. So what was important for those days was an open mind to find the great things in the hands of other people and to pull down the best of it. And pulling down the best of it, we should have a holistic vision. And Saint Chavara had a holistic vision, total vision. He could understand the people. He could understand the people from Kerala, and he could understand the people from the other countries who were available. So what I am just telling, the thinking of Saint Chavara in his limited situation was not small. He had a holistic vision. You might have heard about the story of the blind men going to see an elephant. You might have heard when you are in class, maybe in LKG or UKG or primary class, how the blind men went and experienced an elephant. That same thing can happen to us. It can happen to us even today. And sometimes we know that, or we will be saying, I am a PhD. And since I still remember somebody was telling me, what is your degree as a PhD? PhD can be a permanently head damaged person. Oh, PhD is a permanently head damaged person, and he added me, if you are a good person, you have to permanently heart developers. So Saint Chavara was a heart developer. But before that, we have to see, just go and see how 5, 6 blind men could experience an elephant, an whole story. It will give you a little break for you.
There were 6 blind men who grew up in a village in India, and the community kept them safe and shared with them many stories. The men were curious about many of the stories they heard, but they were most curious about elephants. Based on the stories that each of them had heard, they argued about what elephants must be like. The community grew tired of these arguments and arranged for the men to visit the palace, where they were greeted by an old friend from their village who worked as a gardener on the palace grounds. Their friend led them to the courtyard. There stood an elephant. The blind men stepped forward to touch the creature that was the subject of so many arguments. The first blind man reached out and touched the side of the huge animal. An elephant is smooth and solid like a wall, he declared. It must be very powerful. The second blind man put his hand on the elephant's limber trunk. An elephant is like a giant snake, he announced. The third blind man felt the elephant's pointed tusk. I was right, he decided. This creature is as sharp and deadly as a spear. The fourth blind man touched one of the elephant's 4 legs. What we have here, he said, is an extremely large cow. The fifth blind man felt the elephant's giant ear. I believe an elephant is like a huge fan, or maybe a magic carpet that can fly over mountains and treetops, he said. The sixth blind man gave a tug on the elephant's coarse tail. Why, this is nothing more than a piece of old rope. Dangerous indeed, he scoffed. The gardener led his friends to the shade of a tree. Sit here and rest for the long journey home, he said. I will bring you some water to drink. While they waited, the 6 blind men talked about the elephant. An elephant is like a wall, said the first blind man. Surely we can finally agree on that. A wall? An elephant is a giant snake, answered the second blind man. It's a spear. Here, I tell you, insisted the third blind man. I'm certain it's a giant cow, said the fourth blind man. Magic carpet. There's no doubt, said the fifth blind man. Don't you see? Pleaded the sixth blind man. Someone used a rope to trick us. Their argument continued, and their shouts grew louder and louder. Wall, snake, spear, cow, carpet, rope. Stop shouting, called a very angry voice. It was the Raja, awakened from his nap by the noisy argument. How can each of you be so certain you are right? Asked the ruler. The 6 blind men considered the question, and then, knowing the Raja to be a very wise man, they decided to say nothing at all. The elephant is a very large animal, said the Raja kindly. Each man touched only one part. Perhaps if you put the parts together, you will see the truth. Now, let me finish my nap in peace.
So, what I have to tell, sometimes it can happen to us. If I know something about theology, I say that is the best, or philosophy, or chemistry, or physics. So, we have to be open. The time of specialization is now, but that should not make us exclusivity. Saint Chavara was not an exclusive person, he was an inclusive person. And inclusiveness, as I was telling you, that he was accepting the religions, he was accepting the environment, he was open to everybody. At the same time, he was keeping the identity. So the education rationale of everything he found. So in 1846, he started a science school. And in 1850, he wrote a letter. He was that time was not, and officially, he was just a priest. He was not a vicar general with any authority, but he told others, we have to spend time with for the education of others. And he has advised so many priests to give about 10% of the income of those days for the education of the ordinary people. So everybody has to be educated. In 1861, he was appointed as the Vicar General of the diocese, especially it is called Varapalli Diocese. And there also, he was specific to go to different, so we will show how many schools. Next slide is that. What is shown or written is so many schools has changed. How far it was changed, as we understand today, is not easy, but he was on a quick schools for a church. So what was important is church is the place of God, whatever be the name of the God. So schools connected to the church means knowing knowledge is divine. So in 1864, very important in land of segregation, land of discrimination, he was trying, even today we know that, he was trying his level best to have the special schooling for Dalit community so that they also should be elevated to the education. This, in the picture, you find the first shape of the first school he started in 1846. So education is important. We find this is in the, again, in the writings, we find in the Rome, it is written how Saint Chava and others could transfer the education system. In 1864, there was only one school, probably one school connected with this one church, or only one church or a school. And later, you find 42 schools within 2 years. That means more and more schools. I don't think that with many classrooms, maybe 1 or 2 rooms. And with just few years, in 1867, 1891, this is based on the archives you find in Rome. So these all true things happened, and through those days and today, when somebody is with giving a knowledge, so Saint Javra was a reason for so the holistic education, and this is applicable to everybody. And that was happening, a kind of transformation education in the state of Kerala. So he put a lot of effort on education. He put a lot of effort on transforming the society, finding a kind of equality and justice. And he understood printing press, publications are important. And that was a time, you know, that in Europe and other, the printing has started in 1455, 56, later newspapers. But in Kerala, it was very slow. And he was trying to find, there was a press called CMS Missionaries at Kottayam. And you know that those days Catholics and Protestants had the feelings, so it was not clearly done. And though so now we are more ecumenical and we understand each other, it is not good. And so then he moved from there to Trivandrum, to the government institution, and understood. And finally, he made an indigenous wooden press. Even today, if you go to Mananam, the mother house, that press is there. So what is important is how we can transform the people. So he had founded a press for the sake of spiritual benefit of the people of the place. Spiritually, you have to understand, it is a holistic. It is the growth of human being totally. And later, you may be knowing the Malayalam Daily for the Catholics and Christians, maybe. and in 1887, and that has happened as Nasrani Deepika, but it was not properly owned by the congregation. At that time, it was published from Mananam, printed in Mananam. So you have to see what all things he did. And the limited situation in his own place, Kainagari, he started a home for the sick and aged in 1869. This is a model of that. And what was important for him, he had an open mind to have an inter-religious relationship. And he had cooperated all those people in the monastery, in the convents you find, and in the schools, and printing technology, the machine. If you look into the history, you find those who were casting the letters were from the different religions. So he was above the religions to make a kind of division. And he had that kind of vision, and that vision made Saint Kuriakos Elias, or a Mr. or a Father Saint Kuriakos Elias today. And these are some of the things. I'm directly going to the congregation. So Father Thomas and Father Purukara and Father Palakal, both with the bishop of that day, started the congregation on May 11th, 1831. And you find in these places, in these different places, some of you will be knowing, all these places are Kerala, all these places have monasteries even today. Saint Kuriakos started, but because of the difficulties, another thing, even if he started 1831, May 11th, officially could be recognized only in 1855. So his zeal never stopped. He understood women is a very important part of the society, and mothers are very important for the society. We call nuns even today as mother or nuns, and he established a religious order with the support and help of Father Leopold, and they started a society today we call CMC Congregation, and it was helping them. And at his place, Kunamao, this is a place close by Alway, you find the convent was not only meant for enabling the sisters to develop themselves in prayer and meditation, that is important, but it was equally used for education and social transformation of the people. So these convents helped many people to understand equality between men and women. And even now we all do that. And women empowerment was one of the important tasks. These were the pictures you find. These were the kinds of dressing of the women of those days. And he was, with the help of others, was trying to make kinds of hobbies or hand craft to the ladies, and rosary, you know, that the praying beads was also helping them. Even if you are going today in this place called Kunamau, I have been there in many times, and many of the families, even today, of course, technologically they have developed. They are doing these things and making their lives in a substantial way. So women empowerment, connecting through education and spiritual transformation, all these were happening. And Saint Chavara, I'm not going in detail. These are the books he has written. I was wondering from where he got all this knowledge. And in the limited environment, he was making books, getting connected to the other societies, and making and chronicle. If you look into the chronicle in our mother house and many other books and letters on prayer, the depth of the knowledge and depth of his understanding we can get. So Saint Chavara, with all his limitations, he was powerful. Powerful through his desire, powerful through his great belief in the divine providence. The Testament of a Loving Father, that is a book written, and it is in Malayalam called Oru Nalla Appante Chavarul. Is it is a great advice he is given in 1868. Practicals lie, how do we live? How we live in the family? How the relationship between husband and wife? How the relationship between parents and children? So he has given a lot of advices, practical advices. So uplifting the family was his target, and he has uplifted, advising them, preaching to them, writing to them, and making them a better people.
Erikson's theory of psychosocial development identifies 8 stages which a healthy individual should pass through from birth to death. At each stage, we encounter different needs, ask new questions, and meet people who influence our behavior and learning. Stage 1. Basic trust versus mistrust. As infants, we ask ourselves if we can trust the world, and we wonder if it's safe. We learn that if we can trust someone now, we can also trust others in the future. If we experience fear, we develop doubt and mistrust. The key to our development is our mother. Stage 2. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. In our early childhood, we experience ourselves and discover our body. We ask, is it okay to be me? If we are allowed to discover ourselves, then we develop self-confidence. If we are not, we can develop shame and self-doubt. Both parents now play a major role. Stage 3. Initiative versus guilt. In preschool, we take initiative, try out new things, and learn basic principles like how round things roll. We ask, is it okay for me to do what I do? If we are encouraged, we can follow our interests. If we are held back or told that what we do is silly, we can develop guilt. We are now learning from the entire family. Stage 4. Industry versus inferiority. Now we discover our own interests and realize that we are different from others. We want to show that we can do things right. We ask if we can make it in this world. If we receive recognition from our teachers or peers, we become industrious, which is another word for hard-working. If we get too much negative feedback, we start to feel inferior and lose motivation. Stage 5. Identity versus role confusion. During adolescence, we learn that we have different social roles. We are friends, students, children, and citizens. Many experience an identity crisis. If our parents now allow us to go out and explore, we can find identity. If they push us to conform to their views, we can face role confusion and feel lost.
So Erikson was talking about the development of the people in different stages. I was doing almost the whole thing, and other than the last one. So it will be helping. So Saint Chavara definitely was giving this kind of important, definitely those days Erik Erikson and the psychology of this type was not there, but he understood love, trust, and good relationship for better character formation. And he has connected with parents, he has advised connected with children. So importance of acquiring knowledge is very important for him. So knowledge is learning in different levels. Always he looked for not knowing reading and writing, but it to moving to wisdom. So always knowledge reaching to wisdom was his intention. So influence of good parenting style in different levels he encouraged. I was just rushing through, and it is important. Saint Kuriakos Elias Chavara, as I was mentioning again and again, in all his limitations, he became powerful. A person who lived in 1805 to 1871 in the limited environment of the state of Kerala of today. He made powerful change in the mind and the heart of many people, and that was connected to the congregation today. And we are today around 2,000 fathers, 90%, 95% of us from the southern part of Kerala, or southern part of India, sorry. And we have a few fathers from Kenya. But whatever the things we work around 33 countries, respect your caste, creed, religion. First, we will respect human beings, to make people with love, to make people with forgiveness, to understand that happiness of togetherness. Thank you very much.
Sir, Raja sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much, Reverend Father Thomas. That is a beautiful interpretation, very inspiring interpretation. And you brought out so well the universality of the message that Saint Chavara had given us, starting by saying that although he lived in Kerala and worked in Kerala, what he did was of universal significance, particularly the emphasis on development, on inclusion, on interreligious relationships, and on women empowerment, all which are even today big issues with which we are wrestling. Thank you very much indeed. Do feel free to ask any questions. I'd like to, there is one question that I saw. I think that, yes, it says, Tony Augustine, I always wondered how and why Saint Euphrasia became a saint much before Saint Chavara. Is the bhakti route better than the karma marga to salvation?
Euphrasia and Saint Chavara became saints as per the church system, that is regarding the Catholic Church system. That does not mean that, I mean, there may be a system why Saint Chavara is not called as a saint by the church. So what is important is for the calling somebody as a saint is there are some systems they require. They need the procedure. So I think Saint Euphrasia even is much younger than Saint Kuriakos Elias. She was a saint as per the norms. That's only I can say.
Yes, I was particularly fascinated by the way that the jnana, bhakti, and karma margas were blended and were brought into focus by Saint Chavara. Could you say something a little more about it?
Yeah. I was saying that we can say that way because the spiritual leadership, what he was doing is not exclusively just spiritual. It has a comprehensive picture of the whole human being. So it was a kind of development through education. It was a development through women empowerment. It was a development looking into the Dalits. So where you find this important thing, jnana, bhakti, and karma, to transform everybody. That way, in that sense, I have put that.
Thank you. Yes. Any other questions? Would anyone like to
Sukumar.
come along? Yes, Sukumar, is there anything
Thank you
you want
very
to?
much for the extraordinary presentation. And I like the way you have tonic and verbal expressions. It's extraordinary. Thank you very much, Father. Having said this, I saw about Saint Chavra that he was also a poet, a person among millions with multi-faceted talents. Would you please explain a bit more about the poems? What were those poems all about? Thank you.
If you're asking me precisely, I'm not having that much knowledge, but many things he has written in the old Malayalam. And if I read many things, I can, but there are people who are moved, or he gave a kind of interpretation in that. But some of these writings, what he made is from his intuitive knowledge and his what you call a kind of spiritual movement. That's the only thing I can say. Deeper, I don't know. That is it. I know the book's name, but deeper depth, because I used to wonder, a person with doing all those things from his age 26, 27, traveled across the country. To travel one place to another, you require 3 days, 4 days. How he understood all those things, I used to wonder. But to know deeper, I'm sorry about it. That's all I can say.
Right. Yeah, one more question. I understand that Saint Chavra followed a guru.
Yeah.
A guru system of education. Yes, you did mention that at the beginning of your talk. Can you tell us a little more on that system?
I use that word. Nobody has written Gurukula system there. And see, in those days, Malpanite we call. That means a head priest. Head priest is not like a person who has the knowledge, who has studied. Studied means by himself. So a priest, a Catholic priest, who is called as that wisdom is called a Malpan. So he was under. Malpan is what word is? It may be Syriac, I think. And he was a disciple of him. And he taught the theology, philosophy, and many other aspects. So that was the thing we call Gurukula system in our general term. And one teacher following that, and he was under him around 6 years, right? More than 6 years. As a very small child, not very small, 11 or 12 years. And again, that was in a place called near Alleppey. I think what is Pallipuram. That was in a place called Pallipuram. And transportation, again, country boat, they might have used. So that's only I can say. But this is a very clear thing. Many things Saint Chavara did later inspired from two people. One is the Palakal and the other one is Porukara. Both fathers inspired them. And most importantly, his guru was this senior priest, Thomas Palakal, who passed away 1840.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There's one more question. Thank you for your presentation, Father. Could you please tell us how the CMI are living interreligious dialogue currently following the universal message of the founder? Any experiences?
What is it? See, many of the things are rooted from the state where we come from, Kerala. I myself was just think about the place where I was born, and I mean, I was around many types of religions, and Hinduism itself, you know, that different types of communities, and Islam people. So the differences were not today as today. It was a kind of connections and feast and other things, marriage celebration. So that was a culture in general. But I'm not saying that there was no kind of or equality was a little difficult. Even today, equality is a difficulty. There is casteism in our mindset. But Saint Chavara was trying his level best as children of God. We all should have the openness to accept everybody as brothers and sisters. That is very much of a Christian, very much of gospel values, very much of the universal values. So that is the only thing I can say. But if you somebody was asking me, if you are this much generic, why your relatives are getting married only from your own community? If you are asking me that questions, it has a lot of other difficulties, cultural differences or language differences, or these are all connected to the various other factors. But one thing is important, this is the mindset. If our mindset is open, mindset is accepting, mindset of acceptance, we can grow. It depends on the different states also. That this state of Kerala is far ahead than other states of our country. And if you go to UK, United Kingdom, UK, and you find a lot of differences even today with the British and Irish. And there are so many Irish died. I don't know anybody Irish roots here. And because of the discrimination. If you go to New York, they'll be looking down on what do you call for people from some other country. Some country means around 150 people or 50 types of people are there in New York City alone. But with all the respect, finally, we should have the openness to respect each other as human beings. That was given by this Saint Chavara. I feel we have to love our own community, no dispute about it. But please try to look in a magnified way or a way to understand each other as human beings, as children of Almighty or children of God. If you cannot believe as children of God, as human beings with same kind of spirit and same kind of sense, this is a way only I can say. If you are discriminating based on color, if you are discriminating based on money, if you are discriminating based on education, we are still in discrimination age. Try, that's all I can say.
Two more, I'll combine the two questions. Oh, there's one more. Okay. St. Chavara initiated many things for the girls' education at a time when it was unusual. Can you explain this? Because I know that in many families in Kerala, even in 1900, in fact, in my own family, we were not sending girls to school. And this must have been really revolutionary in 1850s or 1840s.
One of the important thing, he started a convent in Kunamau, a place close by Alway. And if you look into the first members, he was inviting from different levels, different status. I'm not saying only that much. So a kind of broad-mindedness he had as women, as children of God. And second thing, women, if they are empowered with special life, and women in the society are empowered, transformation is easier. And transformation, actually it is easier. Women can change the children and even their families on a faster track. And I think Kerala got this much education. I think 99% are educated because women got educated and women are powerful. And here more men are there, but still I feel women is having more controlling power on families than men, I feel.
Absolutely. In fact, I recall Amrita Sen in one of his writings talked about Kerala and the growth, linked the growth of Kerala to female literacy levels in Kerala, which was much higher than the literacy level in other parts of India. There is another question. Like Gandhiji, Saint Chavara could also say, my life is my message. It was courageous of him to say, I have not lost the grace I got at my baptism. Only a few persons would say that.
What I should say, I mean, see, those days, these are all inspiration or these are all intuitions, I have to say. And Gandhiji also got it, and Saint Chavara probably looking into the environment and the situation and his parenting. and maybe he's building. I think his life, both his parents and his family passed away when he was in the seminary because of I think typhoid or a plague. So all these things probably made him more philanthropic, I think, to serve the society. So the way we have grown up or the way we are created from the environment also may be changing the flow. But it was a good thing, I feel. And when almost all the family members died, he decided to be in the seminary. It was a big task for him either to come back or to be, but he decided, okay, I should be there for helping the society and transforming the society.
And he started a Sanskrit school first.
Yeah.
And the introduction of the midday meal, as Father John has pointed out, which is also one of the firsts anywhere in India, and which perhaps prompted the Travancore government to adopt that. And
I have to say, why he started the Sanskrit school is debatable. Some people say it is because of respect to Sanskrit. Some people say those days English language was not permitted for Catholics. So this kind of so much of political issues were there. But one thing is there, he is open to understand the Sanskrit and grow it. So some of the thinking of today we cannot project to those people in those days, but it was an open thing. What was attracting me in his class, the teacher, who was the teacher? Teacher was an expert in Sanskrit, and he is, I forgot his name, and he is from a Hindu religion, from a upper group in our sense. And where are the students? Students come from different communities, in lower groups also. So where a class becomes a global class, a class becomes a kind of respecting the humanness. So there he is not talking anything on divine directly. Because he cannot say directly to a teacher who is from the another religion. And same thing when he started the press also, all the people who were giving consultation to him were not from his own community. So his own community is important for him, but at the same time, humanity is important for him. I think so.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Father Thomas. What really comes out from your inspiring and instructive talk, we have had several insights from that, a much better understanding of what Saint Chavra stood for and of his message, life and work. What really comes out from what you have said is his overpowering love of humanity and his discovery of a common social need in the society where he worked, a common social need, which was education. And he saw education as the most powerful engine of growth, the most powerful engine which could break down social barriers, bring about more cohesion in society, develop people to their full potential. That was perhaps the universality of the work that he had done. Thank you very much indeed. And I must thank Father Matthew for giving me this opportunity to be here and to learn from Father Thomas on a day which has been very, very enlightening to me. And also for these 3 lectures that we have had, Sri Ramakrishna and Saint Chavra bring out in many ways this expression of love of humanity and of social reform, and the impact that they have made. The words that they say, I'm sure, will resonate for years and years to come. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Over to
Thank you.
Reverend Suguma.
Thank you for the opportunity, Father Matthew, and thank you, Professor Raja, to moderate. And it was an inspiring thing because ECC is not is an institution which gives this kind of inspiration to so many people. When I was in Bangalore, as I said, ECC was some way connected to me in different places and meetings, and I used to come. Of course, as I was telling, sometimes age becomes an impediment to run to that much. But thank you, Father Matthew, inviting me, and thank you all for your patient hearing. And somewhere or other, this is an opportunity to connect to each other. All of you are invited to Cochin. So all of you can come. You can say, you tell Father Matthew to give a trip to us after once the COVID is over, and I will take care of you. Don't worry about it.
Thank you very much.
Maybe I think we will do such a trip, Praj General. Maybe as a climax when the close down lockdown is over, so we can have a trip and to Kerala. Many of you are. I know that you are not from Kerala, but different parts of India, and we also have people from all over India, all over the world. So therefore, probably we may come, and definitely we will be excited to visit you, maybe personally to meet you. And today I would say that this is a brilliant and a splendid lecture on Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. And as Prior General and as an educationist, his whole vision, I must say that I have seen that how he was walking through the campus of Christ University and Dharmaram College, always thinking about how to develop. So I have seen, I came there from in '84, and then I have seen that a college which was on the sidelines has become the prime. Every year more than 80,000 students apply, only around 8,000 could be accommodated there. Everyone all over India wanted to study in Christ University. It is all because of, I must say that the leadership which Reverend Dr. Thomas Chathambarambal CMI, his vision and his hard work and his commitment. So I must, so he was so gracious to me when I was as a student and as a seminarian and then as a colleague and as a great friend. I must thank you, Prior General, for this wonderful lecture, which is very memorable, and you have given the dynamics and given a new ethos, what is meant by the spiritual leadership. I am also very happy to thank Professor Raja. I must say that, Professor Raja is belonging to the princely family of the Samudris. And one day I am sure that he will become the Samudri himself. So there are people who are, whenever there are meetings, he will be accompanied by someone with holding a sword. So if possible, if such things are happening, I would be there, and splendidly you moderated. And we have next week. Milton, could you just say what is for the next week?
Yeah, next week lecture will be on Raimundo Panikkal, and the speaker will be Archbishop Most Reverend Felix Machado, Secretary General of the CBCI.
So the next week, as Milton has explained, the Secretary General of the Catholic Bishops Conference of India, he was an undersecretary in Rome for the Interfaith Dialogue, and his mentor was Raimundo Panikkar. So he will be speaking on Raimundo Panikkar on next Thursday. And I also see that we have our former Prior General and also the Bishop of Chanda, Vijay Anand, his grace was here. And we also have colleagues, CMI priests from all over the world, from Jharkhand, from Chhattisgarh, from Uttarakhand, from Gujarat, and also from states. And we also have friends from Belgium, also from United States, in addition to all over India. So I thank you all for your participation. And the question for the next week will be this one. I will also put it on the WhatsApp group. Spiritual leadership as integral development of a person and society. Illustrate this concept through the talk given on Saint Chavara by Reverend Dr. Thomas Chattamarambal CMI. So that will be the question, and the question will be delivered to you. So once again, thanking our Prize General for this splendid, brilliant, and spectacular talk, and Professor Raja for the coordination and the moderation, and all the other, Father Cherian, Caroline, and all other friends as Placido and Cherryline, Gabriel Lobo, Tony, and Bernard. So everyone. So thank you so much for this participation, and thank you once again to all of you, and also my colleagues Minlun and Sukumar. So thank you. See
Thank
you
you
on
very much.
next Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you.